Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, so we are playing Sentinels of the Multiverse. I'm Simon at Wandering DM. I use he/him pronouns, and I will be GMing our game tonight. Before we go into our 7th issue, so first issue of the second run, I would like to introduce all of my players. Or actually let them introduce themselves, and we will begin with Andrew tonight.
Of course. Yes. Me. Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew. I use the he, him pronouns. I play Fitzroy, who also uses the he, him pronouns. And Fitzroy, of course, is our local, albeit lovable, himbo of the party. Yeah, let's see what he comes up with today.
Right under Andrew on the overlay, we have Hannah.
Hello, I am Hannah. I use she, her pronouns, as does my character, Archer Ashley, the local sharpshooter and lone wolf.
And lastly, for tonight, we have Nino.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Anino. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Ren Angelus, also known as Bayani. And he is the close combat specialist slash rich guy on the team. That everybody salaries are paid by. So,
And last we left our group, they had visited a certain Boseda Kingston, a hero in his own right, magical prodigy, warlock, transmuter, who specializes in creating outfits for heroes and such. Boseda did tell you, however, that things were a bit dire for his company and himself, as the government had sort of taken over and forced them to basically to track down or keep track of anyone he sells his stuff to, or anyone he creates outfits for. That was the end of our first 6 issues also, with the heroes having met for the first time Simulacra, learned that Manowar, the mercenary slash smuggler that they were looking for, is nothing but a clone or something of the sort, and went back to Coast City, to their HQ. And this is where we're going to pick up tonight. Our first panel of the night will be inside Paragon Industries. Actually, inside the lab, which is, as you all know, in a separate dimension. Here we see Dr. Artifice trying to clear room for Boseda, who's bringing in like box after box of cloth and other things. Like there's a few mannequins that were brought in. There's a whole like the rolling coat hangers. Don't remember how they're called. You have that like in costume department in movies or theater. You also see him like bring in some rather impressive sewing machines, and in the end basically take over Artifice's lab to work at creating your costume. This is going to take a little bit of time. Boseda has a like a few ideas born from the suggestions that your characters gave him, which is basically the ideas you came up with, out of game in between sessions. But our second page would be a flashback. It just reads, a couple of years ago. Wow, I should fade out my songs. A couple of years ago, we find ourselves in a rather impressive home. It's a wide area, basically an immense warehouse that was converted into lofts. And there we see a small group of people working at renovating the place. Everything seems to be connected to a central location which contains an elaborate hearth, in front of which is Ren. Ren, why don't you describe this hearth that you built? I don't know if you built it yourself or just simply dedicated it.
He built it himself. It's a round hearth, and it's kind of open, actually. It's not like your traditional fireplace. It's actually like the centerpiece of the room, and there's a hood/column that goes straight up, so it's kind of got a ski chalet kind of feel to it. And there are some couches arranged around the front of it, as well as beyond that is a bar set up, a wet bar. So it's a good place to host a quiet get together, that sort of thing. But it's made out of stone, most of it field stone, but it was shaped in a way to give it a sort of rustic feel to it.
And when you dedicated it, did you add anything? Like, is there a symbol, a statue, a carving?
Yeah, so when Ren made it, he carved a symbol right where the wood would be laid out.
Mm-hmm.
There, and it's the symbol of Hestia, of the Greek pantheon.
And from, I think in the panel we wouldn't see where the speech bubble comes from. There is a voice, and Ren, you can clearly hear it and recognize it, by the way, as Hestia's. And she says, "Did you think it over?"
Yeah, I think it's time we revisited that deal.
I've heard through the branches that you got yourself a new team.
They do. They show promise.
What do you intend to do with them?
I want to give them an opportunity at greatness. There aren't very many of us metas out there these days, and almost all of them are exclusively working for the government. It's clear that they don't really have best interests of the state I know the way they've trained their meta operatives. I want to at least show that there's a better way to go about things.
There is so very little room for greatness these days. It's laudable what you're doing. I guess if I have to say it, you could go with my blessing. But I'm afraid it's a little bit more complicated than that. You're going to have to open yourself to me. Whereas you used to find balance in all of your emotions on the battlefield, you are going to have to replace some of these emotions. Complete confidence that I have your back.
So what do I need to do?
The how exactly is maybe up to you more than me. I can let you do things with your energy that a very rare few on Earth are able to replicate. In fact, there is maybe just a handful of at this level. You see this hearth? I need you to build a fire in it. And I will need you for now sit and stare at the fire until the light goes out. Do you think you can do that?
So this is a gas fireplace, and it'll burn for
For a while.
a while.
Believe me, it's going to burn for a lot longer than that. Do you trust me?
See, he's just going to charge up both of his hands with fire and just lob a blast of it into the hearth to light it.
And when you do so, you know, a roaring hearth fire begins. It's not out of control. It's very bright, very warm. And somehow a little bigger than what is normally considered safe in a fireplace. It burns for a while. Long enough that you get a ping on your phone saying that the gas reserve is almost depleted. And then another ping sometime later that you are out of gas. And yet the fire still burns. And Hestia once more will reach out to you and say, "This fire will burn eternal, so long as the fire within you burns." Keep the flames fed, and you will be like a god it's a very poor metaphor, but the flames here are basically now intertwined with you. So long as you're alive, fire will burn. Barring a few things. But if the fire goes out here, it goes out in you as well. Again, barring a few things. Some beings do enjoy ruining the laws of the universe. But for the most part, it's going to burn forever, and you should live. Maybe forever. There's just one caveat. And I think that's when we would see like the panel fade from before to today. As we see the group is now seated, I think Poseda would have also commandeered the training room and turned it into like a what's the name for it? Wow. Place where you try clothes on.
Changing room.
A changing room. I swear today was not the right day to write stuff or to say stuff. Yeah, an elaborate changing room. And the three of you, Anaya being on call, are sitting in chairs, and we'd see Bayani sitting in his own chair, just, you know, thinking about what occurred all these years ago. And the last thing that Hestia said, there is only one caveat. Be mindful that it does not consume you. And we are back in modern days. Let me try something. Nah. Asking Roll20 to fade it out doesn't change anything.
How
We're
dare
back.
you roll 20?
Dare you not have a proper mixing console? We're back in Coast City 2021 or 20XX if we want to stay like vague. And Baseda and two of his employees are like setting up the last few mannequins. They're all like naked. They're all not wearing anything. They will be there to like display, you know, your second choice or whatever, and then if they have to make adjustments, blah blah blah. And Baseda walks in, all happy and proud, and says, "Well, I believe I've outdone myself. I hope, truly, that you will like them. I went with the lists you've provided me, made certain adjustments where realism dictated it." He looks at Fitz. But otherwise, they should both be functional and unique enough to clearly set you apart from any other meta. Or just about anyone, unless you go to a meta convention. Then you would probably just be the best cosplayers around. Now, and he claps his hands, and when he does so, you can see like little sparks, like fireworks, come out of the palm of his hands. Who would like to go first? So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna have, we're gonna do a montage of panels, right? You all thought about the costume that you wanted, what you wanted to look like. If you have like second ideas or whatever, like throw them. We're gonna have fun, but I want you both, you viewers at home and you players, imagine that if it was in a movie, this is the music that would be playing, like at the beginning of the scene. Warning, it might get loud. Oh, probably not going to get louder than that. So who's going first?
Ren is just tapping in his phone. Was like, oh, I think Archer should go first.
Let's see what you got in leather.
He points to one of the changing rooms. And I mean, when you go in, you will see what you, Hannah, like, came up with.
Okay.
So, what do we see when you come out?
Well, something a little gunslingery would be cool. And I want to try a hat. Just to try it.
Like a Stetson?
Like a cowboy hat. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I've had enough of this Laura Croft look. All right. That's more like it.
When you come out of the changing room, Poseda looks at you and says, so this leather here is actually not from around. Coat was made with the hide, the cured hide of one of the last dragons. Don't worry, it died many centuries ago. I just had a few extra and then went through for the coat. So it not only should be resistant to bullets, probably also to tears, the stabs, and oh yeah, it will not catch on fire. Which you wouldn't believe the amount of costumes I had to redo because someone decided to walk into a blazing inferno.
She has the urge to ask about dragons, but decides against it.
Also, you will notice that there is a concealed holster inside for a medium caliber firearm. You're probably not going to, well, you are not going to hide that huge-ass rifle of yours in there, but, a sidearm like this will work. And then he goes on to describe, like, the rest of the suit, which is made of similar, like, tough material, not as fancy as the coat. But everything is, I'd say everything is, like, tear-resistant, for sure. It shouldn't break, hopefully. In, classical superhero fashion, like, it will after a very hard fight, just because you're going to be bleeding and stuff. But, also, they're all machine washable.
Well, so long as they're machine washable, what's the, how much movement can I get with this? Because I got, one of my weapons under here.
Oh, well, if you want to. He turns and basically, like, presses a button on a remote, and the back of the room where you're in. So like he's not taking up the whole training room, right? And there's like an obstacle course that appears, the same way Bayani had the obstacle course appear for you. He's like, well, if you would care to give out a demonstration.
Sure. Absolutely.
Unless, like, out of game, Hannah, there was something that you wanted
Not in
your
particular.
costume to, like, yeah. Archer will find that it moves very well.
Cool.
You can feel the weight of the coat on you, but it doesn't get in the way of anything. Like, even with the coat unbuttoned and open, like, it doesn't flap all over the place, which it would maybe because of, like, the holster that's in the coat and not just, like, carried on your person. It's fantastic. The only thing is, yeah, when you flip upside down, like, you are going to lose the hat. It's not attached to your head. So that's the one thing you will have to pick your hat up. But I've always found it very sexy when a cowboy would take their dust-covered hat and just dust it off on their jeans. So, I mean, let's say it's by design.
I like it.
All right, then.
Sorry, just one little thing to add. You might need to find a place to hold these. And he's just going to toss a folded case at Archer.
What's this?
Open it. Inside are a set of 5 custom throwing knives.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe I can get some holsters for those sewn into the inside of the jacket.
You see Boseda in a corner, well, not in a corner, but like a bit apart from you, and he's like touching his wrists, like the low of his back, thighs, outer thigh, like the sides of his chest. He's like, I can probably come up with a few. Might need a day or two, just to make sure it's perfect. Any one of you gentlemen want to be the next volunteer?
Sure. I just don't know how I'm going to describe. Fitz, being Fitz, kind of jumps off his chair and he'll walk up to Bosetta and look at him and just be like, make it dark and shadowy.
He points to one of the cabins as there might be something for you. It just, you're asking for a lot.
Well, not yet. Fitz will, kind of walk over and step into the cabin. There's part of what I posted that I'm not going to include, at least not at this point. So when he steps out, he's wearing, first off, it's not quite black. It's like really dark gray, and everything is all kind of like, I'll say shadowy in color, but not pure black, because sometimes pure black against a shadow could be more obvious than a really dark gray.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like every piece is is its own color, right? But it's all slightly varying shades and like not really easy to distinguish one from the other. So it looks kind of uniform all the same. Notably, it would be more or less like black army cargo pants kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
with something of not quite leather, like we don't want too much sheen in it, but still a very structured kind of military-esque jacket. And there's a hood that covers his head, and with the hood is a mask that that just comes up and covers like from under his eyes all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, you don't really see him underneath it, and the hood kind of covers sufficiently, like he can see, but you can't really see him. So it's a bit of I guess you could say a 21st century ninja-esque kind of appearance is what he's going to step out with.
I have some major what's his face from Legacy of Kain.
Who from
He was the main character on one of the Legacy of Kain's game. Oh god. Now it's gonna bug me forever. Soul Reaver. I'll put a picture in our Discord.
Okay.
Anyway. Poseidon looks at you and says, "So, is it shadowy enough?"
Yeah. I like. Stylish too. And just for the fun of it, he's gonna bamf like out of the room for a second and then bamf back in. It works.
Well, of course it works. Why? What did you think would happen? That your clothes would mysteriously stay here?
No, I mean, the people outside didn't see me.
Hmm. Well, I do a good job. Any adjustments that you need me to make?
I'm so tempted to say it's a little tight. um, no. No, no, Mr. K, you have a good eye for the measurements. We're good.
And then he looks to Bayani and says, "And anything last minute you are going to make me change on that costume?"
Oh no. I mean, and I think what he will do is he'll actually produce a little white stuffed kitten and put that on the shoulder and just see how that works out. I don't know. I just felt like it needed a little.
Yeah,
little
Poseidon
fluffy
looks
kitten.
utterly confused. Like, is it supposed to do something? In his mind,
Oh,
he's
no,
like,
no.
"Do I have to stitch it on there?"
Just like, oh, I saw this in an MMO, that superhero MMO. It was all the rage. Everybody just wanted a shoulder kitten for some reason. I just thought that kind of add a little levity to the darkity darkness here.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that's also the same game where you can be made exclusively out of pockets or something. Now, why don't you do us the honor? And he points to another changing room.
Oh. All right. Well, Ren's going to get up, and all of his bones, as he's getting up, are just going to creak a little bit as he does so.
Oof.
Like it's been a long few days.
You okay,
And,
Mr. B?
He's not that old, but he's feeling his age. And he'll go into the changing room and take a few minutes before he comes back out with his outfit. So the thing that he always just wanted was an iconic kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a form-fitting black armored clothing, but there are gold elements to it. And he's wearing a red jacket, kind of a bomber jacket with, asymmetrical buttons up one side. And he also added some well-padded boots, and as well as knee pads to kind of provide him with a little bit more leg support, because he's tired of folks trying to take him out by cutting him down at the legs.
Mm.
And a domino mask.
Yes. Well, I thought when you're out and everyone can see you, Baseda just adds, yes, I thought these went out of style in the 90s.
Maybe they did.
I made sure to incorporate threads from what's it called? Oh, Pyraxis, the lava world, into your whole getup. You should be completely impervious to flame. Yours, mostly. But probably resistant to, or most likely resistant to everything else. Anything you need me to adjust, Ren?
I've gone through this a few times now. Looks like you've got everything.
Well, like you said, we've been there before. If you are certain about your choice of costumes, I will take them back to shop. I will make a copy of them. Do you have a backup just in case? Wouldn't want to send you out into the world wearing just the one suit. What if you happen to lose a piece or something?
I sweat sometimes when I work out.
Oh, the suit will take care of it.
Really? You
Mhm.
see his face kind of light up a little bit. Sweet.
I am not going to say that your suits are completely 100% absorbent. I have had to specify a few things to prior clients. It does not absorb every type of liquid coming out of your body.
What?
Do not pee in the suit.
But Mr. K, I don't pee when I'm wearing. I mean, toilets exist for a reason.
Yes, they do.
Do people pee in the clothes at the store, sir? That's going to be very awkward to clean up. If
There was one before who, when I told them that the suits were, completely absorbent, decided to put them to the test one day.
Note to self, don't tell clients that material absorbs liquid.
Yes. It also dries very quickly.
Did it dry just as fast when they peed on it?
No, that's the problem. The exterior dries very quickly.
The interior stays moist.
Depending on the type of liquid, yes. Look, I do not make the rules. I am simply a practitioner of the art. I just feel like I need to give you the whole fine prints. Just in case.
I promise I won't pee in your suit, sir.
Ow. Anything else I can help you with? Because I believe Art really wants me out of his lab.
I'm good.
Ren, have you lost your voice?
No, I think we're square, but I do want to talk to you about setting up a few wards at a building later.
Alright. Well, you know where to find me if you need me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll fade. Move on to the next panel sometime later. It's been... I'll say it's been a day in between. And we can come back to that day afterwards. But we'll just keep going with Boseda. So like a day later, Boseda with Bayani. You're meeting him outside Paragon Industries. You're like on the sidewalk. And he walks to you with like four coffees. Big ones. I figured we were probably, or I was most likely going to work all day. I brought myself some fuel, and he takes one and hands it to you. And one for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
So then, what's with these wards?
Well, two buildings. This one and the other building that I had told you about, the one with the safe houses. But it's like someone broke into the pocket dimension, and well, there are only a few paths way in, and this is one of them.
I don't think it's possible to pop into your dimension from another pocket plane. So yeah, they would have had to physically enter your building.
I'm not happy about that.
Oh, I bet. Any leads?
No, not yet. the others are working with Dr. Artifice to sort that out. Figured it'd be a good exercise for them. But in the meantime, I wanted to secure the entrance to the pocket dimension in here and over at the echelon lofts.
Okay. Shouldn't take too long. What kind of wards do you want?
Just want to make sure that the only people who can access the entrance are team members, you, and Artifice for now.
All right. Just remember, changing a ward after it's been cast is a pain in the ass, so... If you ever change your mind about who come in and out, try to write up a list for... And, he's going to like ward the entire place. So what's going to happen in game terms, if one of you wants to note it down, the ward acts as a sidekick. It's always up. But like it's always at a D4. You can boost it with your hero points if you want to for an entire session, if you believe that someone might try to come in. And otherwise, the way it works is whenever someone that's not invited tries to go in, I roll an overcome action using the sidekick die size. So either a D4, D6, D8, D10. On a success, the person cannot enter at all. On a failure, they cannot enter unless they like try something, right? Maybe like try to break the ward with a superpower or something. So if it's just a mundane person, like they can never go in. But if you have someone that, I don't know, has like super strength, if the roll fails, they can just start bashing into the ward until it breaks. I'll let you know right ahead that I, as a GM, do not intend to have people trying to come into your house every freaking session. There will sort of be a lead up to that if it happens. Like, you know, when I feel like you have a reasonable doubt, I will, you know, that's probably when I will try to have someone infiltrate. But otherwise, like, you don't need to be paranoid all the time. And, like, burn all of your hero points to make sure that the alarm system is on when you leave the house. Because it acts like a sidekick, you know, it's like 2, 3... well, it's already a D4, so you're never gonna have to pay for, like, the 2 hero points. So it's gonna be, like, 3, 4, or 5. Which is a lot, but I mean, we do tend to gather a lot of hero points, so, you know, that's one way you can bank them, and then, you know, if you think that a villain escaped you and is going to retaliate, that might be a good idea. But otherwise, I'm not, like, it's not a tower defense game where I'm gonna shove minions at you until one of them goes in. I just saw something in chat. Cole, I'm thinking about building commands for the cast. The only one I believe that we have right now is !Rogue, which will lead you to the Rogues Gallery of all the villains that were seen in the show so far. Yep, and everything that people might know, or that, you know, you as a viewer can know about those characters. But yes, I think I'm going to, I need to build one for the cast. So that said, let's go back to a day before. Go back to Artifice's lab. Artifice calling Archer and Fitz in the morning at the ungodly hour of 10 a.m.
Fitz is probably already like working out at the ungodly hour of 10 a.m.
Archer's probably in there with them. She's up with the sun.
But it is ungodly to have to think about work like at 10 a.m.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
You know, life just don't go that way.
And you hear from like the PA, Artifice's voice that says, "So when you're done sweating all over the place, can you come down here? I have need of your services." And the boss said that I could make use of you as much as I want until he comes back. So, chop chop.
Guess we should head down.
Fitz will audibly eye roll. It's not just like the eye roll, it's the ah.
Okay, because I was like, your eyes make sound now.
That might be an interesting thing to incorporate later in, possibly a future level. Screaming eyes.
It's an intimidation tactic, if nothing else.
I'm about to drive Simon up the wall.
When you go into the lab, you remember those like tinfoil hats he made you wear and everything? Now there's like tinfoil contraptions, like jury rig radio antennas and the like. And
Dr. A, that's just not fashionable anymore.
oh, I do not give a rat's ass. It works. That's what's important. I mean, the hats also worked and you calibrated part of the city, but I feel like I need to broaden the area a little. So, I would need you to do something for me. You know that big hill just out of city limits? The place with the observatory?
Yeah.
I know we're not allowed to install anything, and I've been permanently banned from the place, but I would need you to take this antenna and smuggle it all the way over there. Plant it somewhere in... well, any point where you can see the Paragon Industry building. Work. And, I mean, it needs to stay there for roughly about 6 hours.
In daylight?
Yes, in daylight. I mean, so long as you turn it on before the sun goes down, it's solar powered. And like you look at it and there is no solar panels on there. Like you do not know how this contraption is powered, even less how it works.
Fitz is so tempted to just mess around with this gizmo and like find its power source and prove that the sunlight doesn't matter.
Hey,
Oh,
I've disappeared.
Here goes
Oh, I'm
Simon.
back. So will you?
Well, first, what does this thing do before you go sending us on some errand, planting it in some illegal part of town in broad daylight?
Illegal is a little of an exaggeration. I mean, what do we do if not technically illegal things for the greater good? I mean, how many people have you shot and killed?
But Dr. A, those were bad people, and you're asking me to do vandalism to something that has good people.
And the astronomers at the observatory are bad people for kicking me out when I prove that you can actually go through a black hole. Now, if these amateurs want to claim ownership of a rock outside of city limits, I do not care, but they will not stop the science. And also, if someone actually shifted the entire city in time and space, I need to know why, how, and most importantly, is it fixable? Also, for some reason, I hear myself twice. What the hell?
Shift is getting worse.
Yeah, no, that's out of game. I think it's from one of your speakers or something.
Shoot, I can't hear you twice, but
Okay.
We're,
It's
we're,
very,
we're all
very...
on like
it's
headphones.
very, very, like, low. It almost sounds just like a, like sibilance in the back. So, I don't know. whatever. It just I heard myself. So I'm not going to ask if you will do it. My question is, when will you do it? Now would be a good time, but I mean, I guess you could wait until after lunch.
Fitz is gonna look at Archer for the cue to like either do it now or like do it later.
I mean, we're not doing anything else right now. I guess sooner is better than later. We could at least scope out the place, see if there's an opening.
It's a hill. There's an opening everywhere.
I meant when your scientists aren't going to be watching our every move to see if somebody's trying to mess with their doohickey.
Oh. Yes, well, in that case, I do not think you will need the... and he turns around to the table and takes, like, these huge signs. It's just, like, cardboard and black Sharpie. And it's just, like, a drawing of a giant middle finger on it. And he just, like, rips them.
And here I thought it was gonna say "Do not touch."
Did you just have those?
Doctor A, those would have been very rude signs.
Oh, they would. Yes, that's the whole point.
Maybe they kicked you out not because you were right, but because you were rude.
See, you're starting to sound just like them.
Maybe they have a point, Doctor.
I thought you were good people.
We're smart people.
Well then, figure out a way. And he takes the thing and like shoves it into Fitz's arms to get this to work before sundown. Oh, you turn it on by flicking the red switch. Just right there.
I'm sorry, how big is this thing?
Okay, so do you remember... Did you watch the last season of Stranger Things? Okay.
Yes.
The kids build this giant ass...
Oh, you've got to be
radio
kidding me.
tower. It's like 10 feet high. It's made with like coat hangers and just like whatever bits and bobs of metal you can find. And that's... Yeah, that's what it is. I'll try to get a picture.
It's got to be the most
Ostentatious looking thing in the universe?
Oh yeah,
No,
I definitely have a picture. Here, it's in
my French is
Discord.
trying to bleed into the stream right now.
Here, Hannah, so you can see. For everyone else, you kind of know what it. Yeah.
Oh, good. It
Yep.
looks like a giant piece of farm equipment.
Yeah, sort of.
With an umbrella, a slinky, a bunch of random rods, some tinfoil, all attached to some kind of tripod base. Yep.
And you want us to just walk this through town up to this observatory, stick it in the observatory without getting caught, and leave it there for 6 hours?
No, not in the observatory. Just outside, somewhere on the hill.
On the property.
Yeah, on the property, not inside. What would you need to do it inside? It's not going to send any signals to me if it's, covered by a wall.
Oh, my bad. I wasn't thinking.
Fitz just turns, inadvertently knocks something off of one of the counters onto the floor where it crashes and walks out of the room.
I think that panel is, shot from like what would be like the security camera. It's like almost like an overhead shot of you two being like almost out of frame, And between you and Artifice, there's like a broken like beaker or something with like purple liquid in it. And he just has his hands on his hips and he sighs. And it's like, that was breakfast. And you are out of his hair. Actually, he doesn't have hair, but
He's out of ours. Hello. Let's get this straight. We
Should've
might have
painted
left, but he's out of our hair.
Should have painted up some signs that say "World's biggest asshole" for us to wear, lugging this through town like this.
Maybe we should borrow one of the trucks from Mr. B. It should fit.
You got keys?
Fitz is gonna put the antenna thing, like, kind of just lean it up against the wall, bamf, and then come back a second later and jingle keys.
Nice.
now what he didn't say is that there was a guy in a truck, like about to start his engine, and like Fitz appeared right next to him, yonked the keys away, and bamfed out.
Literally in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Literally in the passenger seat. Just like, bamf, took the keys, bamf.
And like it's a set of keys because it's, you know, it's the company's fleet, so.
Because of course I couldn't get the individual sets from like the actual parking place where they're all parked, right? I had to go after the master set that's all on one string.
It's so much easier.
Of course.
It's convenient. We have choice now. And he says nothing. He just picks up the tower thing and keeps heading towards the garage where the cars are.
You make your way out of the pocket dimension into the garage. There's a fleet of, well, for the most part, like, you won't find the biggest construction vehicle here. Like the bulldozers or the cranes or whatnot. These are, you know, kept outside. But here you're gonna have like your moving trucks, your like cube trucks, a few sedans, one or two sports cars. You know, in case you need to make an appearance at like a formal event or whatever, and you need to flash a bit.
Fitz will instinctively gravitate towards one of the sports cars. And then have a moment of like sizing up what he's holding and looking at the car and then looking at the car and then the tower.
The trunk is like just wide enough to like it's like a cooler, like an ice. It's super tiny.
It's like you can't get a briefcase in there.
Not even.
And kind of shoulder slumped, he will turn and go to one of the moving vans, open up the back, toss in the tower. And I don't know if he's going to drive, though. Archer, do you want to drive? I don't know if I want to answer this question.
I'm just going to say that Bayani does not, in fact, trust Fitz to drive any of the company vehicle.
Come here, give me the keys.
and in fact,
so Archer knows this.
Was the designated driver.
Well, I figure, so Fitz, coming from, you know, where you come from and having the upbringing you had, I don't think you ever, like, had driving classes.
I believe that Fitz's ability to drive is not based off of an actual ability to drive, but based off of an ability to operate a vehicle as a machine. It's a gizmo, therefore he can operate it.
Mm-hmm.
But as to whether or not that qualifies as driving, well,
like, yeah, you can operate it, but then it's like the knowing how to drive, knowing, you know, all the signs.
I feel like they would be able to do that. It's just that there's this whole thing called traffic laws.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is something that Fitz
You know,
would have no ideas about.
Fitz would be a lot safer on like a motorcycle kind of thing because it's a lot smaller and therefore, he moves around a lot more easily and worries a lot less about, stupid things like traffic. Whereas an actual four-wheeled vehicle might be a seriously not great idea because it takes up the entire lane.
All right. Well, Archer will drive.
You hop into the truck, start it, drive away. I think, like, from, Bayani's point of view, he's probably on the phone right now, like, calling Posada to let him know to come, like, tomorrow morning for the wards and everything. And you can see Bayani, like, your two pupils just leave in the truck. And then you hear on the PA, "Boss, I would want a word with you." You're muted.
You would just see Bayani's head just droop, like, oh boy.
You don't even have time to reply that he bursts into your office. "So, we're teaching arrogance now. Did you know that they called me rude? Me, of all people."
Listen, Doc, I got to tell you, they mean well. They're very young, but we all know that deep down you're the glue that holds this whole operation together.
Damn right I am.
Yeah, totally. That is the case. I mean, that's why you're the head of our research branch, and that even when we hire Mr. Kingston to provide some raw materials for you to use, he answers to you, but you got to give them some slack. They're in their 20s. They're new to this whole thing.
So, respect the corporate hierarchy. I am, like you said, the head, so they should call me, like, I don't know, your skullness or something.
Well, no. They should at least call you doctor, because that is your title.
I did work to get those 13 PhDs, yes.
Yeah. Couldn't get that 14th one, though, huh?
So he has an entire name after his name because of all the acronyms from his PhDs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The night school just ain't what it used to be.
Yeah. No,
It gives you a PhD.
I mean, it's good enough that you're tied with, Dr. Banner, but
Who?
Wait.
I do have some news, though.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I passed an ethereal scan through the pocket dimension. Took a while for it to work, but I believe, and he starts like typing on his gauntlet, that you would like to see this. And he takes like a hologram of a picture, like throws it in your direction, and it opens up, it enlarges, and you see, like the corridor that leads to the lab. You see it basically from the point of view of if you were right above the secret entrance. And at first glance, it doesn't appear like there's anything special. It's just empty. And then he says, "Look closely. Right before the door to the training room. Can you see it?" And if you focus, you can see that in the pattern of the floor, like the tiles, some of them are off by a few pixels each. And it forms like a wavy line that could be like one half of the silhouette of someone. Whoever they are, they're traveling through, from what I can gather, multiple dimensions to get here, which is something that I thought was supposed to be impossible. I do not like that our little thief or guest or whoever it is also brings with them the wrath of whoever's in charge of interdimensional travel. Now I don't even know if they're here since the blink.
So are you saying that this person, whoever's infiltrating this place, isn't from here at all?
No, I think they might be from here, but that they can look at it this way. And I'll be right back. And he comes back with like a little contraption. It's like on a flat piece of like 2x4, and it's several sheets of paper arranged upright, about like an inch between each of them. And he says, "Now, boss, imagine the wood is our reality. Now, this person could walk from point A," and he points to like one side of the plank, to point B, the other side, by just going through our reality, which is the simplest thing to do. But they would physically be in here. Or maybe like that boy you keep around, they might teleport, but most teleportation is actually rather complicated and often goes through a pocket dimension of anyway, it's I didn't get my PhD on that, but imagine the rest. Now, each of these little sheets of paper is the gateway to a different dimension. And this person, what they're doing, and he like goes to the side of your desk, so like he faces the row of papers, and he lights up a little laser on his finger, and it burns sheet after sheet with like a pop. They are basically moving from reality to reality with every footstep. This is inconceivable and probably should be impossible. The only thing is it leaves behind, in some cases, and he like puts his hand like in between the sheets of paper. They can't seem to go from one dimension to the next. They always go back to ours. And that leaves an ethereal residue behind. It is the faintest shit I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, I didn't think the scan would do anything. But there we have it. Now, I don't know much about all this magic mumbo-jumbo. But I don't believe this, and he points to like his old contraption, is magical in nature. I think someone found a way to distort time and space at will. And each time, the energy expended to do so is left behind in one of these other dimensions. It's like if I were to come in your office, fart and leave, go to another room, fart and leave. At
Please
some
don't.
point, the people in those rooms will be angry at me. They will come for me. They will probably look for me where I exited. You know, if I fart in your office and I leave by the door, you're probably going to open the door to shout at me or something. Now, because this happened here in my lab, I am about probably to get an army of various extra-dimensional beings mad as hell at I don't know what, but probably me, because I'll be the only person there. And let's face it, of all of us here, I am the only one with the genius to build a contraption that would go through different dimension. So, like, they wouldn't be too far off of being angry at me. But the point is, it's not me.
So, two things. What kind of defenses can you build in your lab to prevent that? And can we add those defenses to another place here?
I don't know. And you can see in his face that he is, like, genuinely angry at not knowing something. And he might even be a little scared, because this might be beyond him. Now, I finished a scan this morning. Took, you know, however long it took. I can look into defenses, but one, this will take some time, and I do hope that Mr. Kingston is going to at least be able to ward this place against some measure of intrusions. This is for interdimensional travel. Most of the experts in that specific field have disappeared during the blink. You know, someone took the creme de la creme away from me. I am left with, like, shitty dairy creamer.
You mean those guys at the observatory?
Yeah, you're not there.
Well, I guess maybe you need to get a couple of interns. You know, folks with 3 or 4 PhDs to work for you.
3 or 4 PhD. That rate, I might as well just get me some of the monkeys. But fine, I'll see what I can do. I'll probably even provide them with typewriters, and who knows? In a million years, they might come up with the answer we're looking for. And he leaves your office by the secret door, and he's just, like, repeating under his breath, like, 3 or 4 PhDs. 3 or 4 PhDs. And that's where we're gonna take our break for the evening. Stick around, everyone. We'll be right back. we are back. So that was that with Dr. Artifice. I think that could be the name of a show. That was that with
Past tense, of course.
yeah. We're going to cut to another panel. Have our heroes reach the base of the hill. There's a few people around, like there's even like a parking lot. It is a public space. You can either take a trail up. Of course, it's asphalt and everything. Or there's a staircase that goes up. Both go all the way up to the observatory. It's a part of the observatory is like a public museum type of thing. The rest is the actual working place of a bunch of scientists. The hill itself is dotted with a few trees here and there. The thing is when the observatory was built, they basically raised the entire hill and sowed grass and trees afterward. So when I say it dots the landscape in a very carefully placed manner. Like, it shows this was artificially done, and not just like, oh yeah, it so happened that the trees grew here and there. Same thing for like field stones and the like. They're always placed in such a way that they look like cute little benches, and other like sometimes maybe a monument or something. But yeah.
So is it kind of like a French garden with topiaries and like everything is always like very trim and very specifically like positioned?
Not that much.
Oh.
I would say it's so people do take care of it. Like the grass is always mowed, but it's not to the extent of a topiary. Like you don't have like hedge sculptures and like fancy trees. Like the trees, they've been planted, they grew, however they grew. The city doesn't care.
I was gonna have Fitz jump out of the truck and go, look, it's Hello Kitty, and like
shit.
It's all good. We'll do that next time.
I'll put in a like a horticultural horticultural festival or something at some point.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's where you are. There's like a few families, either coming or going from the observatory, people jogging, and yeah, it's a lively little place.
Fitz, he's just gonna get out, open up the back, and kind of like pull out the antenna and just like it's nobody's bit. Like he's not bothered by people circulating or the fact that they might be staring at him a little funny that he just came out with this whole like it's quasi packed up, but it still looks like a mishmash of like random quasi metallic household implements kind of stuck together with duct tape and aluminum foil.
Yeah,
so
I mean, when you pick it up from the truck, like there's a fork that falls off.
Right.
You don't know where it went, or like where it's supposed to go on it.
He's gonna kind of like, wiggle a toe on like the toe of his shoe under it and kind of like flip it up, catch it, and like put it in his pocket for like reintegration later.
Do you remember where that thing went?
Nah, figure it out.
Okay.
I mean, clearly it goes in here, and he gestures to the whole thing. So, where Dr. A said it had to be facing Paragon Industries.
Right, where you could see it.
Where's Paragon Industries? And he's gonna like literally do like the look around, like, why don't I see Paragon Industries right now?
Maybe if we get further up the hill, we'll be able to see it.
He looks up at this, up like, you know, he sees the stairs and just like, right, Stairmaster, got this. And he's gonna take off like,
Well, hold on. She'll run off after him.
what's wrong?
Nothing. You're going so fast. I'm just trying to catch up. Got shorter legs than you.
Oh, we're doing that walking thing, yeah. Right, you lead.
Sure, she'll lead. She's not going to ask about that walking thing, but she'll start up the hill, trying to look as much as possible like she knows where she's going and she knows what she's doing, so people will hopefully not stop them and ask.
I mean, stop and ask? Maybe not. Stop? Yes, a lot. Stop and stare? Pretty much everyone. I mean, you're carrying this like 12 feet long antenna thing that just, one, it like waves as you step, as you walk, and it makes a lot of noise, both of like aluminum, like tinfoil, you know, the like
Crinkling sound.
crinkling sound, yeah, that it makes, but also you can hear like whatever's this is made just like groan with every step. It feels like this is going to break apart any moment.
At least to like one pair of joggers, because there's got to be a pair of joggers everywhere we go now.
Of course.
At least all of the like parks and recreational areas. Fitz is just gonna like look at one of the joggers, like the joggers, you know, going by, and he's just gonna smile and, yeah, you know, we kind of had to throw it together last minute.
They just, you know, they're, and you just hear one mutter like, "Fucking LARPers."
Hey, Archer, what's a LARPer?
It's a person that dresses up and acts like a knight, usually. Sometimes something different, but usually a knight.
That's kind of cool. Do they like swing swords at one another?
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
Okay. Good. I thought it was like some kind of like bunny rabbit or something. I was a little worried.
Where do you get bunny rabbit out of LARP?
French.
Sure, she's not going to question that. We'll keep going.
Yeah, I got it. Like, sure. You need to be bilingual, and you need to stretch a bit.
Quite a bit.
You walk up the hill. Do you follow the path or the staircase? Like, all the way up to the summit? Or do you want to, like, break away from that at some point?
Do we want to keep going straight down the path, or do we want to try and, you know, zigzag a little so we're not quite so out in the open?
I mean, paths that leave least resistance, right? Point A to point B, like that physics stuff that Dr. A goes on about sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're not going to be any less inconspicuous off the path carrying this thing. Might as well just go, get it over with.
Yeah, I don't want to scare the squirrels. And the chipmunks.
So you, you know, make your way up, and, you know, from time to time, like, we'd see your characters turn around, look at the city, try to see if you see the Paragon Industry building. But the way downtown is built, following the path, you would always have a skyscraper between you and the Paragon Industry building. So you kind of have to go almost like diametrically opposed to the observatory on the hill to really have a clear view. So you figure you're far enough away that if any of these astronomers come out after their shift or whatever, like, they're not going to see you. This part of the hill is less visited, more wooded. There are like gravel walking trails in here, but not really a lot of people. Like, there's someone walking a dog. That's about the only person you see.
Can the sun still reach this area? Like how?
Yeah, we're not talking like deep forest type of thing.
Okay.
It's just like a nice wooded park. You can easily, there's probably at the very least 10 feet between each tree. So yes, sometimes the canopy is going to create like shadow and maybe act as a natural ceiling. But you can just walk a few steps away and you'll find some place that's directly under the sun. And at this point, it's about like not 4 p.m. Because you blah, 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 you talked, you drove, and then, yeah, it's probably 2 p.m. The sun is still high up in the sky.
Can you see the building from here? Like, can
Not really, no. Should I go up a tree? Can we set this thing in a tree?
No,
I
actually,
don't.
you from here you do see the building.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Okay. So here's as good a place as any. So we will plant it here.
Right.
All right. I need one of you to make an overcome check.
I'm totally gearheading this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do my principle of the gearhead. To overcome a technological challenge, I have to get that fork back in the right spot, amongst other things. I use my max die, and everybody gains a hero point if I succeed. I think I have to succeed.
Yes, I think you have to grab y'all's sheet.
Well, I mean, it just says you and each of your allies gains a hero point. I'm assuming that that's dependent on whether or not I succeed at the.
Principles. Yes. No, actually, it's regardless of whether or not you succeed, the hero point is gained. Because even if you fail, it will bring your character's arc forward. Because, you're not supposed to fail at something technological. You are a gearhead. So if it does happen, it's going to be interesting. Thus, hero points because experience.
Got it. So I'm gonna use my momentum to drive it into the ground, and then my creativity to unpack this in whatever way it's supposed to unpack, and likely use the fork as a strut to hold up one of the little antennas that looks just a little flimsy. And we're green for environment, right?
All
right. Let's see. Roll 20. What are you doing to me?
Oof, Fitzroy.
Oh, that hurts.
I mean, that's a 4.
That hurts.
Congratulations. It succeed with a minor twist. You plant it into the ground. You hold up your things.
Yeah.
You take a few steps back. And it just goes... falls down. It's not utterly broken. But it will take you 4 hours to put it back into place.
So Fitz is just gonna like after it falls, like for it falls, and then you have like his absolute like confused expression like occupying one of the frames, and then he's just gonna like stand there like and point at it, kind of like a kid pointing at like something gross on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gonna be, Archer, it fell.
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
He's just not gonna do anything else for like a solid few minutes.
All right, well, I'd like to try to use my principle of the tactician to see what he did wrong, to try and put it up this time and put it up differently. Hopefully in the correct way.
Military tactics for the win.
All right. Okay. What do you use?
Let's see. So describe for me the thing that this grandiose doohickey is supposed to be standing on, unless it's something that was supposed to be driven into the ground.
It's supposed to be driven into the ground.
Oh, good. Well, in that case, I'll use strength, alertness, and green, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you're in green unless otherwise.
Okay.
And that's a 6. So you put it back together, put it up. 2 steps back, and like 3 of the like little antennas just come crashing down in a rain of utensil, tinfoil, and copper pipes. And there's a message that pings on both of your phones from Dr. Artifice.
I got my phone back.
Oh, no, that's true. Your phone is dead. So just
No!
it reads, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh, he's mad.
I don't know. Maybe the F word is his happy face.
There has been, maybe like 3 hours since you almost succeed. So it's like 5 p.m. So to him, you've been gone for 6 hours total and still haven't turned the antenna on.
Fitz, do you think you can figure out how to put those things back up where they belong?
Oh, this is gonna really. Wait, we have the dice pool, right?
Yes.
I'm totally because
I'll copy paste it in Zoom so you know what's the current dice pool.
it's on the overlay, right?
Yes, it is on the overlay.
I'm gonna take the D8. Because I mean, I got nothing. I'm not gonna pull out my sword for this. My momentum is not gonna help me, and teleporting, I don't need to teleport with this damn thing. But I was gonna take the D10 this time around. Use a D10 with my creativity at D8, and then my D6.
Oh,
Nice.
so
No! Damn it. Not what I wanted. Okay. It's going to say momentum just because I don't know how to modify the sheet. Okay.
Oh, when you want to, you basically just take your nothing
And change it to
the
a D10.
die. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Fingers crossed, people. Yes! I got a 10!
Yeah, but it's not with the principle of the gearhead. So it's the mid die.
Damn it.
So you put it up, and a bit like your reaction out of game, Fitz goes, "Yes!" And then you flick the switch, and only the switch remains in your hand. And Archer's phone rings.
I'm surprised it's only ringing and not like screaming some like blatant profanity.
Hello?
Monkeys!
Hold on, let me put you on speaker.
I can see you from the office. What are you doing? You're breaking all of my things. And he's like, if you see his panel on his side, he's got like his phone tucked like in his shoulder, and he's got a spyglass, and he's looking through the window.
Dr. A, you kind of only use like aluminum and kitchen utensils. It's kind of really flimsy, sir.
It's because it needs to be made that way. Now, how did you put it down? What did you do?
I put the pointy end into the ground.
No, the pointy end goes up.
No,
What did you
the other
think all those
pointy end.
little arms were supposed to be used for? Those are like the base.
But Dr. A, I made it look like a tree.
No, it needs to look like the reverse of a tree. It's not that complicated.
So it needs to look like a tree's roots.
Yeah, if it helps.
You know, you could have told us this before we left.
I thought it was evident.
Dr. A, I don't have like a whole other name after my name because I have like PhDs.
There is just a long silence. And like the panel of him just like face palming. He takes his phone again and he says, "Fitz, my boy.
Yes, sir.
I want you to build it back up. I will send you a video on your phone explaining how to build this thing properly and set it up before the freaking sun sets."
Okay, but Dr. A, just like make sure you like make it like a YouTube video, because like those are super educational. Because if you make it too like technical, I might not understand what you're trying to say, and it has to look like tree roots, right?
Oh, for the love of... Yes, give me...
Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait for your video, sir.
All right. You wait an hour. It is now something like 6 p.m., right? We're in the summertime, so you still have like a window of maybe 2.5 hours. And then your phone rings again, Archer. I have sent you the video. Fits on your phone. Why isn't the antenna built?
Dr. A, I kind of need a new phone.
Oh, for fuck's... He hangs up. And then Archer, you get the video on your phone.
Oh, good.
When you open it, so it's in like shitty like 480 quality, like 480p quality.
That's great, because I've got a shitty flip phone, so that makes it even worse. So
he's like looking at the camera, like he's like half out of focus. And he's like, yo, kids, I'm about to show you how to build an antenna for dummies, because that is what you are. Don't forget to click the little bell down there, because I need money to eat. Now, you see this, and he takes like every piece one by one, and he puts them together. The camera quality is not that great. More often than not, he's hiding the antenna, because he's like between the camera and the antenna. And then you go like this, and then you do this, and then you wrap it with this, and now it works. And then there's a credit roll of like director of production, Dr. Artifice. Dr. Artifice played by Dr. Artifice. Catering, Dr. Artifice.
Executive producer, Dr. Artifice.
did you catch all that, Fitz?
What kind of role do I need to do? A role? What kind of role do I need?
You won't need a roll at all.
Okay. I am convinced that Fitz will not actually put all of the forks in the right places, and some of the knives will be like
Actually,
reversed.
you end up, when you're done, following exactly what he said, there is like a pile of roughly 1/3 of what that thing was built with.
That's just laying
That
on
was
the.
never, yeah, it was never included in the video. Like, there was junk on that antenna. You put it up, you flick the switch, and there is like a tiny blinking white light at the tip, the one that you like so strongly rammed into the earth earlier. It is barely perceptible, but it's there. And after a few blinks, Dr. Artifice calls you again. He said, right, now I need you to stay there and wait for further instructions. This thing needs to remain where it is, undisturbed, for a few hours. And then you can come home. By the way, the boss is done warding the place with Kingston.
So we're just supposed to stay out here for 6 hours until it's done collecting your data?
Why, yes. Part of the job is to stake out things. Right now, you're staking out my friggin' antenna.
But Dr. A, this isn't a stakeout. I've got no stake.
Okay, look, listen.
Can you order me some steak, sir?
Yeah, we could both go for some steak.
I can,
Like maybe get like.
I will Uber you a steak now.
Okay.
The entire city, nay, the entire planet might be at risk if someone decided to tamper with the fabric of time. So I need this data because, as far as I know, I am the last person in this world who knows how time travel works. In theory. Didn't finish that PhD. So,
Dr. A, what color is the fabric of time so that I can keep an eye out for it?
Sounds like he don't know.
he hangs up. Like, he's not. Actually, on your side, he hangs up. In his panel, you see him just like throw the phone at the wall and like angrily stomp out. Our next panel is like 2 hours later. The sun is starting to set. There is a guy. Yep.
Archer, call Mr. B. I think we lost Dr. A.
All right.
This is Angelus.
I think we got a bad connection with the doctor, the scientist. Can you check and make sure that he's okay? We weren't done asking him questions.
Mr. B, he hasn't told me what color the fabric of time is. I can't keep an eye out for it if he doesn't tell me what color I have to look for. Like, there's so much, like, people walk around in fabric. I have to know.
It's purple, and I don't think he wants to talk to you right now. But when you're done, I'm going to text you an address. Go here when you're done.
Okay, Mr. B, can you have one of the guys bring us some steak? I've got some in like the fridge, kind of like ready to cook. You just have to like sear it. It's gonna be like it's ready. Just can you have one of them like take one of the trucks and come out here with it?
He just hangs up.
And, but yes, like 2 hours later, there is an Uber Eats or whatever the equivalent, because you know it's no name Uber Eats. Comes up with like, you know, these like bags that keep food warm, and he hangs you 2 containers. They're like styrofoam containers, and inside is just one like 12-ounce steak No sauce. No nothing.
Is it at least medium, or did they make shoe leather?
No, it's medium rare.
Okay.
But
Because Fitz was about to like teleport way the fuck out of there. Like seriously,
it's
people.
room temperature.
I think the killer part is that there was no plasticware with it.
Oh yeah, no, there's no utensils. There's nothing else.
No utensils.
It's okay. We got a pile next to the antenna.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
We're equipped.
So you eat your steak, whatever. Is there anything like any conversations you want to have, or do you want me to turn the page to another panel?
Is teleportation, is that something you've always been able to do?
Since I can remember, yeah. I mean, I wasn't always allowed. Sometimes some funny things would happen, like the rooster would be on top of the barn, or like the goat would be like in City Hall. The pig ended up in the principal's office once, but I told Uncle Sam that wasn't me. He didn't believe me. So he didn't let me teleport for a little while after that, because the principal was really pissed off.
So you're saying that if you try and go with something else, the something else don't come with you?
Well, if it's like a living, breathing kind of thing, like sometimes it like slips out of my hand as I'm teleporting, and I mean, I don't know what happens after that. Maybe Dr. A would know, but I don't. Biggest thing I ever teleported was a tractor, and he's gonna like smile, like proudly.
You can teleport big machinery?
Well, it was kind of like we were going over the cliff, so I didn't really have to lift it as much. As I was just kind of like stuck to the front of it as I teleported, and it came with me.
That's still. I mean, do you
Yeah.
think you could replicate that?
I'll ask Mr. B if he minds me borrowing one of the trucks, but I don't know how. I don't know if he's going to be happy about that. I mean, when we fell out of the sky, it kind of busted the suspension on the tractor. I don't want to bust one of Mr. B's trucks.
You broke the tractor when you teleported with it.
Well, I mean, like this teleporting thing, it's kind of like you like go into like this other place and then you come out of the other place somewhere else. And like sometimes I kind of like forget about where I'm going, and I don't always come out where I'm supposed to.
But the animals that you tried to teleport with, they didn't break, did they?
No, they were alive. I just lost my like they slipped out of my hand. Kind of like when you're trying to like grab an ice cube and it like gets all slippery and you can't hold it in your hand and it just like pops out of your hand.
Sure.
Yeah. But the tractor didn't slip. I kind of dozed off in the middle of the teleport.
You dozed off?
Yeah, I got like super tired all of a sudden, like when I went to the other place.
Huh. Don't suppose you've ever tried to teleport with a person. If you don't want to
Yeah.
say, it's fine.
Uncle Sam, I mean, Uncle Sam doesn't get angry very much, but the one time, like, one of the others suggested I do that. He got scary. He got very, very scared.
And
I'm not allowed.
this Uncle Sam, he's your family?
He's my uncle, yeah.
Well, he's probably just looking out for you.
He does that a lot. What about your family?
I don't really have nobody.
Why is that?
Don't really need nobody.
Do you ever get lonely?
Guess I just never really thought about it. Sometimes it's better to be alone.
I mean, I try not to think about it. It's easier to run away when I have to run away, but like sometimes I'm like sitting in like my like some random apartment that like I'm like hiding out in, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm all alone and there's nobody here, and why am I all alone again? And then I get sad.
Why are you hanging out in random apartments if you got family?
I guess that's a little complicated. I mean, yeah.
It's fine. I'm sorry for prying. I didn't mean to make
No,
it weird.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't. Nobody's ever asked me about family.
And that is when you hear some rustling from behind you. And a voice says, well, what have we here? And it is a distinctly woman's voice, but she keeps to the shadows. There is, however, a second person that walks into the light. Well, you actually recognize him. Dressed in a, like, the Men in Black outfits, right? So, like, the black jacket, black pants, tie. But the face is unmistakable. It is the face of famed action star Brandon Lee. And the voice says, you've been away from home for a long time. I feel like it's about time you come back. And we're gonna end on...
I am so confused.
Next week.
No, let's start next week now. I gotta know, what the hell are we doing here?
You'll see. Can't say anything more. But I promise you it makes sense. And it's not just like an appearance by a celebrity. By the way, in this universe, like, Brendan Lee never died. I'm just gonna say that. He's the actor that played the Crow, the son of Bruce Lee.
Ah, okay.
So like a martial artist, an actor who would normally not work for the government. Unless this is like a whole setup or something. And I can tell you that neither of you recognized the voice coming from like the darkened person.
Archer would have recognized Brandon Lee, if not from the movie, from the memory that she caught a brief glimpse of.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because when you use the Paragon feat,
yep,
the vision of Bayani fighting, it was against him.
Okay, because Archer doesn't really watch movies, so that's something.
So that's it for today. Did you have fun?
I did. I had a lot of fun. Fitz is just such an enjoyable character to play, especially when he's interacting with Dr. A. You know.
I mean, Dr. A is patient to some extent. I think you've pretty much, found where his patience ends. But that said, let's go around the table. Tell us, who you are, where we can find you, anything you have going on before our next week with issue 8. Fitz, the mic is yours.
Hi everyone. I'm Andrew. Of course, I play Fitz, and I pretty much only live here at least for probably another week or two as work settles down. On the Twitters, you can find me at Anderful1, and if I do have things going on, I'm going to be posting it there. Otherwise, here Thursdays, whenever we're playing. Short of, catastrophe, I will be around. And this is where you can find me.
Awesome. Archer, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Hanimation Art and everywhere else at Hanimation Studios. You can find me here Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. playing Sentinels with this lovely, lovely group. Thank you, Simon. You can find me back here on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. playing Cyberpunk with Anino. And back here on Saturday at 1 p.m. EST, also with Anino, playing some Scion, Birth of the New Gods. Lots of exciting stuff. Cannot wait.
And lastly, Ren Bayani.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Anil. You can find me on Twitter at Anino4K. In addition to those streams that Hannah mentioned, I will be over on the Other Duck channel on Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the next installment of the Edge of Paradox and Invisible Sun campaign. So, tuning for that. It's a lot of fun.
And I'm Simon at Wandering DM. Thank you everyone for coming once again. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to basically Found Familiar, great coffee company. You can check them out. I think their orders are still on hold because of COVID, but be sure to check them out periodically if you want to get some very delicious coffee. Check out also Roll20. Well, it's the platform that we use for all of our streams here at roll20.net. And lastly, if you want to get yourself some new dice for when we are allowed to play together, or if maybe you are wherever you live, check out Die Hard Dice. And I now have a code that remains the same instead of changing every month. So you can use code WanderingDM. It's in chat right now to get 10% off your entire order of dice. And they have some gorgeous dice that I will have to give away soon. It's just logistically speaking, it's been a nightmare right now because of shipping. That said, you can find me tomorrow night here for Cyberpunk at 8:30 p.m. Then on Saturday at 1 p.m. playing Scion. And then on Sunday at 1 p.m. again, playing on the Roll For It channel, where I play Hey You, the ogre soldier in what is probably going to be our last episode. We are supposed to play 4 sessions, but we might just be shot for desertion, like in the first 5 minutes on Sunday. Sunday. Yeah. And then, of course, well, there's no Blue Rose this week, but you can find me on next Wednesday for at 7 p.m. for Witcher, where one of our group tried to take out their own tongue. Because it's the best way to not tell lies. It's a drama-filled campaign. in that game, I'm practically the himbo. And yet I'm probably the most intelligent person stat-wise in the party. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming once again, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.